Welcome back to Creating Cashflow, where I take my portfolio from zero to $1 million a month in passive income earnings. I'm Wardrop, and this is my story. So today I'm super excited to share with you a phone call that I had with Jason, who is a YouTuber that has over 100,000 YouTube subscribers, and he talks about how YouTube can be a tool to generate passive income. And there are so many golden nuggets in this episode. I imagine you may want to listen to it once or rewind a lot of different sections because he gives us a lot of gold on how to not just start a YouTube channel, but how to monetize it and how to monetize it in different and unique ways to create as much passive income as possible. So I hope you enjoy this episode. Feel free to leave your comments and reviews down below. I would love to hear from you. And if you have a YouTube channel or if you have additional questions you want me to reach out to Jason about, please just add them in the comments down below. And I hope you enjoy the show.
I don't really know how to get these things started, so I will just start off with, what up, dude? No. So I was looking up your YouTube channel, and you have 123,000 subscribers now, which is crazy. Your most viewed video has 508,000 views. You know which one it is?
How to create Instagram ads for beginners.
Yep, exactly. Then your first video uploaded, do you remember when that was?
There's probably a little bit before. I know January 1st, 2018 was when I first got serious, but I think there's probably some 2017 uploads.
Yeah, you had one in January 27th, 2017.
Yeah.
That was your first upload on your channel.
Okay.
So anyway, I guess for everybody watching this, Jason Wardrop, he's my brother. He has an awesome YouTube channel that we'll talk a little bit more about today. He also has a podcast that we'll be talking a little bit more about today. And I've already walked Jason through my idea for creating cash flow and what this show is all about. So basically, just for a quick 2 cents, the whole point of creating cash flow is right now I have $0 in passive income, and I want to basically change that. I want to be able to go and create, the tagline is $1 million a month in recurring passive income. But obviously I need to start with some baby steps. So the first one is going from like $0 to $1,000 a month, and I have 5 vehicles of how I want to be able to do that. So the first one is short-term car rental, so like Turo, real estate, a mobile app, and then this show, podcast, and YouTube, and then the final one is through stocks and index funds. So basically, I wanted to chat with you, and thanks for taking time to be able to go through and talk about what you're doing with your YouTube channel, because I'm going to be uploading all of my podcasts from this show up to YouTube as well. And so I guess my first question for you is, do you feel like your YouTube channel has created a source of passive income for your life?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. It's created a lot of what I'm doing right now, and it's gone way better than I ever expected 4 or 5 years ago when I first started. And to correct you real quick, because we were just hanging out this last weekend in New York, you're not at 0 on your passive income because you already started touring out your car. So yeah, you might be goal to hit $1 million a month, but it starts somewhere. And so you're probably close to like $1,000 a month on that one, right?
Yeah, but I haven't uploaded my Turo video yet. So
oh, oops. Okay.
By the time people see this, that's a good foreshadow for, hey, I am headed in the right direction.
He's heading the right direction. He's making progress, guys.
We're making progress, but the Turo video will release after this one.
All right. Sorry to ruin everything.
Spoiler alert. It's probably like a good foreshadow for the channel, so people actually like keep subscribing or listening.
Yeah, guys, he actually does make progress. So hang with him, subscribe, stick to the journey, because he is making progress. He's not still at 0.
Yes, I love it. Okay, so you feel like it's created some passive income in your life. I guess, Because there's like the debate of, is it truly passive? Because you do have to like go through and make videos and content and respond to people and do all of that. I guess, how do you think of it as passive income versus something that would be like true passive, which would be like an index fund where you invest your money and you don't
Mhm.
touch it or anything and you get dividend payouts?
Yeah, I mean, it's evolved quite a bit. Like I was saying, January of 2018 is when I first started getting serious, and my schedule around posting on YouTube has evolved and changed because back during that time, I was like, okay, in order to grow, I have to post a video every single day. And I didn't come up with like the idea of batching my videos. So literally every morning, it's like waking up, what should I create a video on? I'd create the video, edit it, upload it. And it was just like a every single day routine. And that was like probably the first like 3-4 months doing that like every single day. And so you look back at those times, and I was probably making like 50 cents an hour for the work that I was actually putting into it. Right. But then now it's like I've gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, that's not actually the best way. The best way is actually to go through and just be consistent with content that you're creating, create quality content, great thumbnail, great headlines, and just play the long game as opposed to like back during that time, I was like, okay, next 90 days, I want to be, making all this money. And so now what I do is I post 2 videos a week. I actually literally just, it's 10:08 my time. At 9:30, I was like, oh, I got a call with Dal in like 30 minutes. And so I was like, I got about time to bust out a video. And so I literally just shot, edited, recorded a whole video in the 30 minutes before jumping on this. So it's like now, like, yes, there's some active like things that I have to do. But once you get the ball rolling, it's like just keep the ball rolling, right? And even where I feel like it's very passive compared to just active is I have a video. I mean, I could go with my stats and show you guys. Literally, I shot it in, I think it was September of 2020. So we're nearing 2 years. And this past month, I made $1,500 in just ad revenue on that video. And that has been pretty consistent every single month for like almost the last 2 years. And the ad revenue, and I'm probably going too deep on this one specific topic. The ad revenue is just like one small source of income that's created from the YouTube channel. And that's another thing that's kind of evolved over time of just learning more about YouTube and the online world, online game.
Yeah, well, you mentioned a lot of things that I'd want to dive into, but you kind of bring up a really good point where real estate would be the same way, where it's like, okay, you can't just like buy real estate and then just collect money and call that passive income. It's going to take a lot of upfront work to go find the right property that you actually want to buy, and potentially, if you're going to do a short-term rental, you got to furnish it. So it's almost like a lot of these passive income channels, they take a lot of upfront work, but then from there they turn into recurring revenue.
Totally.
Um, well, yeah, go for it. You're gonna say something.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, and that's like you're comparing it to real estate, and that's one thing I love about the digital space is like if you're gonna go through and you read some of the books like Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad Poor Dad, they all talk about real estate. People in real estate like make a lot of money, and people that are wealthy get into real estate, and it's great. But like, I'm starting to get into real estate as well, so I'm not trying to diss it or anything. But if you're starting out like from scratch, like with nothing, like the digital world, I like to call it like digital real estate, where like I view every one of my videos almost as like a little apartment unit. Like, and so like then like the whole entire channel is almost like an apartment complex, right? Where it's like
Cool.
maybe there's some of the videos that don't have a tenant in them that month, which they're not really getting a lot of views, not getting a lot of money and all that stuff. But then you've got other videos, they're cranking out 300, 400, $500 a month in cash flow, where if you think about the money you have to put down into real estate to be able to create that type of cash flow in like the real world, I mean, that the digital game, there's just like nothing like it to be able to like go from basically, and yes, you have to build up. It's not like something overnight success, but over the long haul, you're able to start build that passive income, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, 100%. Just getting started here is so cheap. I have another video that I talk about how it's like it's just all on you. There's nothing like if you have an iPhone or you have a phone, you can shoot it, you can get great audio from it, and you can upload it all for free to YouTube. and it's no down payment. It's just all you have. It's just all up to you, essentially.
Yep, 100%.
Okay, so you talked about frequency 2 different times. You said in the very beginning you were uploading every single day and shooting a video every day for like 3 to 4 months, and now you shoot a video and upload twice a week. I guess for someone starting out like myself, what would you recommend? Are you kind of like, hey, it's more about consistency over a long period of time, or like when you're getting started, videos and podcast shows start going out on a, like on a daily basis? Or how would you recommend I think about this right now?
Totally. So what I typically like people when they want to start a YouTube channel, what I always recommend is pick a schedule that you can stick with for the long haul and then stick to that schedule. So like most people, if they've got like a day job, they can't just jump into making a video every single day, right? And even last year, I was making 3 videos a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I just got to a point where I'm like, I've been doing this for 5 years, literally covered almost every topic I could possibly think of. So
Yeah.
I was remaking videos that were like just the new version. And so I was like, I got to scale back. It was just like creating more stress and anxiety in my life than I wanted. And so then it's crazy. Just going from 3 videos a week to 2 videos a week is like significantly easier. Although it doesn't seem like a lot, but then like on a weekly compounding basis. So what I would recommend to people if they're like looking to get started, like obviously if you can go through and do like 2 or 3 videos a week, then the chances of like you getting a video to catch and like go viral, catch the YouTube algorithm, all that stuff, your chances just go up, right? But at the same time, YouTube favors the consistency and the frequency of posting more than, hey, they just posted for like a month 3 times a week, and then the next month they kind of burned out, and so they didn't post. And so like it's better like to just go and be like, okay, I'm just gonna do 1 a week every single week for the next like let's say 3 years, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to I'm gonna do 3 a week. And that was even something where like I started a podcast we were talking about back in May, and I got to a point where like by July I was like, man, like I'm getting all these podcasts knocked out. I'm like scheduling them out. Like we're like 6 weeks ahead of schedule. And so I started rolling out like 2 in a week. And then I was like, I kind of almost got to a little bit of a burnout session where then I was like, okay, I got to pull back and just do 1 a week and just stay consistent on that cadence right there.
Well, that's interesting, because what I'm curious about, you said you just started another podcast channel, and I'm over here like, okay, your original channel that has over 100,000 subscribers, that was started 5 years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, for real. So I guess, is it too late to start a podcast show now? We're recording this September 2nd, 2022. Is it like, did we miss the wave if we are just wanting to get started now?
So personally, I don't think it's ever too late for anything. It's identifying the niche in the space that you're going to carve out your own unique space in and be that unique personality, right? Like, yes, people that started podcasts, like let's say 10 years ago, they were the first ones to do it. Or even like if you look at the bloggers that started like 15, 20 years ago, they almost had an easier route because there's nobody else competing. Whereas like now, like you got to get more micro niche, very like more specific on like who your target audience is, building like that personality, all that stuff. But like personally, I don't think it's ever too late. And it's just like, okay, how do you carve out your own unique piece of the pie in the market that you want to serve?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I guess when you like, how niche down do you think people need to be? Like, I'm over here saying, really, I'm building this out for me of being able to say, hey, creating cash flow is being able to say, my niche is strictly about generating passive income. Is that niche down enough? Or is there like more, or do you think it would be better if I had a more specific niche?
Well, one thing I like to think of, and this is one thing I've noticed too with my own business, is likes attract like. And so like just some background. So like I had a real estate software company, for those of you guys listening, for a while. I was selling to real estate agents. I was never a real estate agent. So for me to go through and connect with those real estate agents, it was a lot more work, right? Whereas now I like that was like a real estate software. Now I'm teaching people how to go through and build their own software and all that stuff, where the people that I'm attracting are literally like me. It was me like 5 years ago, wanting to start a business, wanting to do all that. And so if you just look at yourself, that a lot of times is your ideal avatar, right? Where it's like, okay, you're looking to create passive income and create cash flow. Okay, there's one step. Okay, what's a deeper dive into this? Well, you're a male too. So maybe you're going to attract more males than females. Might attract some females, might be looking at those long goldy locks and be like, man, those really look nice. And they want to just watch you on screen. But you're probably going to be more of like the male demographic. And even looking at my YouTube channel, a lot more males than females. And then even at that, my age range is very close to the 25 to 34 range, is just because I'm in that demographic. And then there's also some of like the 35 to 44, kind of just like that age range. And so those are kind of the people that I think about when I'm like creating my messaging and all that stuff, is like, okay, creating cash flow is great. Everyone on earth wants to create cash flow, but how do you carve out your own unique piece of the pie? Okay, well, I'm going to like really speak to like males that are, maybe they're married and maybe they've got like 1 to 2 kids. They're working like a day job, but man, they'd love to be able to have some more freedom. And so they're thinking of different unique ways to be able to first supplement their day job, not quit it entirely quite yet. And it's like, okay, here's the different steps I'm taking to go through and like add additional income to what I'm making my day job. And then, okay, also my ideal client avatar is maybe wanting to replace their full-time income and be able to like, completely remove. So those are the ways I like to think about it. Yeah. And because then it's like, if you're marketing to yourself, it almost makes things so easy because you know yourself super well and what's going to resonate and connect with you.
Yeah, and you're doing the research anyway. So you're like, I'm looking into all this stuff anyway for myself. So then making a video about it, or like having this call, like, is something I'd be doing anyway. Is calling you up, being like, hey, I have all these questions about a YouTube channel or a podcast, and just basically having this call. And just now we're recording it and putting it up there. So I guess a follow-up question would be, if you want this to like supplement your current income or one day replace your income, what do you think people can make from like a podcast or a YouTube channel? Like, what can people expect to make overall? I guess maybe at like the 1 year mark or the 2 year mark, and then at like the 5 year mark, saying, hey, this actually can supplement your income. Because right now I'm trying to go from 0 to 1,000. But like you already mentioned, I think I have another strategy that I think will be easier for me to get from the 0 to the $1,000 mark. But then now, to me, this is planting the seeds to go from the $1,000 mark to the $5,000 mark, or the $5,000 to the $10,000 mark. Is that like hoping I can make $9,000 a month from a podcast show? Is that like not ever going to happen, or is that something that's pretty realistic?
So, excuse me. So one thing I've noticed with all this online business stuff, it's kind of more, it can be more like a hockey stick growth, where it's like at the beginning, you're kind of going slow, right? And then it can totally like propel. And I feel like this year, 5 years into it, is finally the first year. Like, not saying that I didn't make decent money before, but I feel like this is the first year that I feel like I'm really like starting to take off.
Yeah.
And like when I remember when I first started, my whole goal with YouTube was, I was like, man, how cool would it be to make $1,000 a month? I was like, that would be legit. Like, it was just very small. Yeah. But like, I was like, if I could make an additional $1,000 per month with what I'm doing, like my day job type thing, that'd be so crazy. And then I hit that. And I think it was probably like 9 to 12 months in. I can't remember the exact time frame, to be completely honest. Yeah. And then my monthly mortgage on our townhome that we had at the time was just a little, I think it was like $1,200 a month. Mm-hmm. And so then I was like, man, how crazy would it be if I could cover my entire mortgage off my YouTube ad revenue? And I was like, that would be insane. And then I hit that. And so like I created little milestones in my head. And then it was like, at that time we were like living off of nothing. My wife and I, so it was like $4,000 per month, I think, was our monthly expenses. And so I was like, man, how cool would it be if like YouTube ad revenue could literally cover all of that? And so I kind of started scaling that. But then also another thing I started looking at, and this is where I think you start to have like that exponential growth, is they say that the average millionaire has 7 streams of income, right? So multiple streams of income. And I always thought that meant like, okay, I've got to have some real estate, I've got to have stocks, I've got to have all these different sources of income.
Yep.
And that's, I mean, that is true. Like you can do that. But what I thought, I was like, you know what could be easier is creating multiple streams of income by focusing on one thing. And so what I started doing was I was like, okay, I've got like my YouTube channel and I'm getting some ad revenue, right? Where it's like ad revenue is nice. It's kind of like a bonus, but it's not something where I'm like, that's not like the big measuring stick for me. And so then I was like, okay, what else? How else can I leverage this? If I'm making the YouTube videos already, how else can I leverage this to go through and create more income? Right. And people started asking me questions about the YouTube videos I was making, wanting more in-depth information. So I put together a course, started selling the course, and then I use software, and so I started referring people to software, and so I started like creating multiple streams of income off of like this one thing that I was doing, and that's when I feel like things started to really compound for me with the earning potential, right? So
like, for example, then what would that look like? So YouTube ads, and then like affiliates, or like what? Because one of the things I was going to talk about or ask you about, which you kind of led us straight there, which is great, but like, how has your monetization strategy changed from like what you were thinking about 4 or 5 years ago to what you're doing right now versus what you think you're going to be doing in like 9 months to a year?
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, initially it was just like, oh, I'm just going to make these YouTube videos. And it like pretty much was just ad revenue. Like that was like kind of the extent of what I knew.
Yeah.
And then I literally like, just as I was growing, I was just getting like all these people, and you know my story a little bit more. Like I was making the videos attracting real estate agents because I was like for my software business. And then I started getting all these people that were like more marketers or entrepreneurs and wanting to be like copy exactly what I was doing. And I was never even intending to do that, but I was like, oh, I'll put together a little course, show you guys exactly what I'm doing, charge money for that. And and so I started selling that course. And then inside the course is like, okay, well, you know, what I'm doing, you need software. So here's the software. So like for you, like how this looks, because I mean, it might be a little bit different, right? Just because like the topic of the conversation is different, is okay. Like one, I would say the number one thing you can always do is build an email list. And the reason why is because like you don't have control of like what YouTube does, where they rank your videos. You don't have control of like Facebook, TikTok, any of these platforms. But if you have somebody's email address, then every time you release a new episode, video, whatever it is, you can just shoot them an email, right? Let them know, get directly into their inbox. And then let's say you start building this and be like, well, man, Dallin, I want a course, or I want a training, or I want you to show me more in depth on how to like go and create more passive income or create cash flow. I want you to show me what you're doing with Turo. Like, and I know we're kind of foreshadowing there, but like more in depth on some things that you're doing that is working. And then you could put together like, here's a step-by-step blueprint, right?
Yep.
Because that's what I've done as far as video training, because I can't work with, people one-on-one. But then just recently I started more of a coaching program. And so I've got a small group of people I'm working closer with. And that's kind of, you said the next 9 to 12 months, that's kind of where I'm viewing myself going and focusing on people that, there's just different tiers. Like, okay, you got the free content on YouTube, and then you've got, okay, here's the step-by-step training, just a little bit of paid access. And then the coaching, it's like you want more direct support and access to me. And so with you too, like if you're building an audience, this is something that I haven't really focused on, but I know a lot of people have reached out interested in this. But are sponsorships and like partnership deals. Like they know you have an audience, like, hey, will you kind of, mention our product, our company? And anyway.
That's cool. I guess this is kind of veering off a little bit, but hopefully we don't go too far down this path. I'm curious, like, okay, we're starting the channel. We're starting to build like this budding community of people who want to build cash flow into their portfolio. How do you redirect someone away from YouTube to go to an email list? Is that like through another offering that you create? Like, hey, here's like my 10-step guide on how to get started on Turo, and then you give your email? Or I guess, how do you get people to go from where they're listening to this for free right now to wanting to give you their email address?
No, yeah, exactly. So in the marketing world, it's called a lead magnet, or you basically create a landing page. So a page that offers something of value in exchange for their contact information.
Yeah.
And so, like, for example, if we're talking Turo, like that would be a great hook. Like you're talking about how much money you're making on Turo, and like, hey, if you guys want like my 10 best things, like the best items that I learned in the first 30 days of getting it in Turo, I'm going to send you over the checklist. Just click the link below. And so, like, what I do is I have a link to my landing page to go collect contact information in the description of every video and in the top comment of every video.
Okay.
So then if they're watching it and like, I'm not doing like a hard sale of like, oh, go opt in down there. But I'll usually say in every video, like, hey, like I'll be talking about some concept and I'll be like, hey, if you want these ad templates or if you want this or that, I've got a link down below that you can just click and I'll hook you up with them for free. Something like that.
Yeah, okay. That's way cool. That makes a lot of sense. I have another question that's kind of changing directions a little bit, but your channel is called Jason Wardrop. So if you're watching this, you can go find more from Jason at his channel. But why did you name it after yourself, like your actual name? And then a follow-up question would be, what thoughts or what guidance do you have for somebody that's not naming it after themselves? Like I'm naming mine Creating Cashflow, and we're kind of building off of that. I guess what do you see as some of the pros and cons, and why did you name yours after you?
Yeah, totally. So one was personal branding, and then also one of my early mentors, Russell Brunson. I know I've talked to you about him before, Dal, but basically his whole concept is like you need in a business, you need like what is called the attractive character, right? So like for your business, you're the attractive character. You're the one creating the content. You're the one bringing people in.
Yep.
And social media, people want to interact with people. They don't necessarily want to interact as much with brands. Not saying that can't be done. But that's why I went and like, cause I had my business and I was like, okay, well, if I'm the one making all the videos and they're going to be like getting to know me, I should just name it my own name as opposed to like the business name. And then I'll be able to have my profile picture as opposed to like a business logo. Cause it just, and that was even like when I was running Facebook ads, I would always run it from my personal Facebook business page that said Jason Wardrop with my picture, because as they're scrolling through Facebook or Instagram, they're seeing my picture as opposed to just some random logo. And so, one thing, I mean, with that said, one thing you could do is like, if you want to stick with like, okay, you want creating cash flow. Cause like, that's the thing is like, if people pull up Dallin Wardrop right now, because you're just starting out, they don't know what to associate Dallin Wardrop with, right? Because it's like just newer content. And so maybe if you did want to do personal branding, you could do like Dallin Wardrop creating cash flow, like some like type of thing like that. Or you could also just, keep it just creating cash flow and not have yourself in there. I know of other people that have, built brands not around their specific name, but they are the attractive character as well. So,
yeah, I like that idea of having like a face that can be familiar in the profile picture rather than just a logo. Because actually, when I chose the name Creating Cashflow, I went on YouTube and saw all of these different channels that were about cash flow or passive income or whatever, and most of them had fizzled out already. But it is definitely not as personable if you can't see a face as a profile picture. So I don't know.
Well, even if a channel, to me, like if I'm scrolling through YouTube and even if a channel has like 300,000 subscribers, if it doesn't have like someone's name, like the chance of me clicking on it, like goes down dramatically. Right. Like, or not in the name, but I'm saying the profile picture. Sorry. If it's just like a random logo, like I don't know who that is. So I'm just like, I'm not. So it just draws more attention, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to have to update my branding. So kind of rounding things out here, I guess right now my strategy is to upload these types of shows to Spotify and Apple Music or wherever people listen to podcasts. and then also to YouTube. And I don't know if you have any thoughts around, like, should I be uploading it anywhere else? I know TikTok has absolutely blown up, and you can kind of take clips from these types of videos and add them to TikTok. I guess, where do you think I should be putting content if I want to be able to grow and reach as many people as possible?
Yeah. Um, Great question. I mean, I like YouTube just because of the searchability effect. And then YouTube Shorts, kind of modeling TikTok's platform, are nice to be able to just go through and just get some more exposure there. TikTok, and I've told you, like I started TikTok like a month ago, and I haven't posted a ton, but I had one video just randomly like just take off. And so I think as far as like if you're going for like ease of like virality, getting eyeballs, like TikTok's probably your best platform, best bet there.
Yeah.
And what I've done since then, because I just don't have the time to go through and like my main revenue driver is like the YouTube channel. It's like TikTok, I haven't been able to like say like, okay, if I do this many videos, it's going to directly correlate to this much money and revenue and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so what I did was I kind of stopped making TikTok videos. And once I found like the video, like that was starting to get views, I started putting money behind it. So putting ads. And so that one right now is like getting me leads for less than $2 a lead, which like on YouTube, I'm paying like $15 per lead. So it's like 7 to 8 times more. And so as far as, and I don't know, it's still too new to like say they're as quality as the YouTube leads.
Yeah.
But as far as like the volume and mass market, that's definitely there for sure. So
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. If $2 a lead versus 15, that's crazy.
yeah. So, I mean, and if you think about that, like if you're, let's say you're spending $50 to $100 a day, $2 leads, it's 25 to 50 new contacts or like leads, emails that you're getting, that then you can kind of direct them over to other places, the podcast, the YouTube channel, build up that audience and subscribers, and just, slowly build up that way.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So I guess if I'm going, I say, hey, just like I'm doing with trying to build up passive income, as I build this show, I want to get like my first 100, first 1,000 followers or downloads from a podcast perspective, or subscribers from a YouTube perspective. How, like, what do you think is a secret sauce to get the first 1,000?
Great question. I mean, obviously it always helps go viral. I never went viral, especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
What I would do, I mean, initially you want to invite all like your friends, family, like anyone that you know, to go through and kind of like start giving it some juice, right? Because like anytime a new video releases, YouTube always likes to see that has engagement early on, so they know like, okay, this video is performing decently.
Right.
And then from there, like if there are different ways you can go through and build an audience, like honestly, if it was me starting over from scratch and not starting with no money, because I know you have a little bit of money, like it's not like you're, trying to make ends meet, right? What I would probably do is, okay, I'd post the video to YouTube, I'd post and I'd have the links out to landing page so I can start collecting emails, right? And it could be, you don't even have to always reference the landing page in your video. So it could just be a link. Hey, you want these free bonuses or how to create cash flow checklist or whatever? Download, like put in your email and you'll send them something. And so your post on YouTube, post on the podcast, and then, do a few TikTok videos, do like 10 to 20, see which one is like getting the most amount of views. It doesn't have to go totally viral, but just see which one is like getting more than others. And because those are basically just different hooks. So you're just throwing out different hooks and see which ones people are biting on.
Yeah.
And then take whatever top video is and then just like, all right, put 20 to $50 behind it per day. And then like start building up that email list. And then the email list, it just starts snowballing. And like once they opt into the email list, you deliver whatever you promised. And then each day after that, you're sending them, you're drip feeding them a different podcast episode or YouTube video or different things like that. And just by getting people slowly consuming your videos and content and getting back to the channel, your subscriber base will start to slowly grow. And just like once they hit it, they watch one video, they like it, like, man, that was good. They'll probably want to start watching a lot of other ones. And so there's a lot of people that come to my channel, find me for the first time, and then just binge like 10 videos.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so you mentioned something kind of interesting, but you're talking about you have a podcast channel. So, and then you also just mentioned like a drip campaign. I'm starting to now think, and I don't want to get too into the weeds, but what type of tools do you feel like are necessary to like get started? So you need like some type of email management software that can also do like a drip campaign. And then are you manually uploading all of your podcast shows, or are you have like a main host that can distribute to everybody? How, I guess, how does that work?
yeah, so there's a podcast platform. It's called Libsyn, LIBSYN.com.
Mhm.
And it takes a second to figure it out, but then once you connect like Spotify, iTunes, Audible, all the different platforms, when you upload it once, it'll go out to all those platforms. So that's what I've done.
Yeah.
And then as far as the tools go, probably the simplest tool that like you can actually start out for free, it's called ConvertKit. I've used that one for a number of years. So basically you can create simple landing pages to collect like opt-ins, and then you can set up drip campaigns, and then you could do like email broadcasts. So those are kind of like the core of like what you would want in tools. So
Okay. So I guess like from a business perspective, how much do you think someone should be spending, I guess, per year on tools as they're like, hey, I'm committed, I'm going to be making all these podcasts, I'm going to be doing all of this? Are we talking like sub $100 or like
so
$200?
so ConvertKit, I think it's free for your first 1,000 subscribers.
Okay.
And then after your first 1,000 subscribers, I mean, I think it's minimal $40 to $50 a month, but like at that point, if you have 1,000 subscribers, you should be making money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so then like you pay more as the subscribers grow, but like at that point, like you're making money, so it offsets the costs.
Yeah.
It's like me, I like to spend as little as possible on everything.
Yeah.
And the one thing I always like to put money into is advertising, because I know advertising is literally the lever that drives everything, all sales, marketing, all that.
Yeah.
And so if you look at like my profit loss statement for my business, it's like 85 to 90% of my expenses are paid ads.
Dang.
And then everything else is like, okay, all these miscellaneous softwares, contractors, whatever, but just like a minimal.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I think that's it for our time today. Thank you so much. And everybody that is watching, if you want to go find Jason, I guess, where do you want them to find you? Is your YouTube channel the best spot?
Yeah, YouTube's good. Just type in Jason Wardrop, go check it out if you guys are interested in all that stuff. But yeah. And
I feel like my demeanor's been like way intense on this call because I'm trying to just take it all in. I'm learning a ton. So I'm over here like, okay, I'm not writing anything down. Obviously we're recording it. So, but I'm like, I'm gonna have to rewatch this a couple of times to grasp all of the nuggets. So
well, all good. We'll have to jump on again and cover more stuff that you have.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'd super appreciate that. But thanks for jumping on, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks for having me.
See ya.